Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We are back with the Ted Show. I always love when a friend comes on the show, and Tim and I have been friends for a long time. This is Tim Veigle. Tim is a real estate guru, a longtime Orlando person, does a lot in the community, and guess what? He is running for office, for an office I bet you all have heard about, but have no idea what it does. So we're going to take a deep dive into that, learn more about Tim. Welcome, my friend. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's gorgeous out. Just feeling it, a little crisp in the air. Here we go. All right. So tell us about you, Tim, before we take a dive into soil and water. I think it's important for people to kind of know your background.
Well, like you mentioned, born and raised here in Orlando. I'm a native. I'm very involved in the community. I love to help people out. I'm currently the president of the Casper Chamber of Commerce, which is basically a volunteer position. I do not get paid to do that. I'm also a regional director for my business fraternity. So I oversee 12 chapters in Tennessee, Kentucky, and one chapter in Indiana. So another position I don't get paid for. I love helping people and helping people develop and do more. And then, of course, I also help people move into homes, get rid of problem homes, find dream homes.
So I have to ask, where did the commitment to service start? Your family obviously is also well known in the community for giving back and being a part. Is that where it started? Did you always have this kind of itch to give back and do stuff for the community?
I think I've always had the itch. I just don't know where it came from. And I don't think I fully understood it until, like, with my business fraternity, we moved from, because in that business fraternity, we kind of educate college students to become business leaders. And we started moving into more of a servant leadership platform and studying Simon Sinek and your why and things like that. And then when I started diving deeper into that, it's like, okay, everything I do is helping people. So that's really what drives me. Therefore, if I want to be happy in life, I really need to work on helping people out, because that's how
Yes, I love that. We just talked about this yesterday on the show about how when you find your passion and your purpose, it brings joy to you, and that's okay for it to bring joy to you. It's okay to give back and get something out of it intrinsically. So I love that. But a lot of us love to give back, but not most of us, including me, don't run for office. So tell us a little bit about the journey to that. Why now? Why are you moving, progressing to the next step in the whole servant leadership role?
I think a lot of it has to do with, I've been following this office for the last couple of years. I had a friend that actually ran for 2 years ago, so I supported him and I was paying attention to it. And like most people out there, never knew it existed. Let's be real. But then I started paying attention to it, seeing what's going on in the Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District meetings, and realizing there's a lot that they could do, but they're not able to do it because they don't have the right foundation. And then it just really kind of fits me. Like one person, a friend of mine had somebody ask, like, oh, should I vote for your friend Tim for this one? And he's like, yeah, it's perfect for him. You don't get paid and it's volunteer.
Right up your alley, Tim.
Yeah.
It's like they wrote the job description for your past work experience. All right, so let's talk about it though. Why this position? You said you followed it, but what about, first of all, give us a definition. I think most people have no idea what the scope is of Soil and Water Conservation District. They don't know if they're in it unless they live in Orange County, and then they go, well, it says Orange County, so apparently I do. They have no idea, most people, what it even does.
Yeah. I mean, it was started a while ago. There's literally a soil and water in every county. Probably a few counties might not have them, but every county in Florida, a lot of counties across the country have a soil and water conservation district. It's there to really help kind of bridge the gap between federal, state, local, and then the different landowners. You can sit there and you can help with different conservation efforts in those counties. For example, things that they could be involved with is, a few years ago, there was that issue with the soil contamination with the power plant in East Orlando. Could have been involved with that. As far as speaking up, you can even order soil testing for it. Some of the cool things, though, like our neighbors to the north in Seminole County, they have a program going on where they do trail cameras. So they put out trail cameras that are donated by local businesses to film the wildlife that's out there. Maybe they'll catch a Florida panther one day in our neighborhood. Who knows? So, but it's cool to see what's out there and see what they can do. And what also makes it a little more difficult that most people don't understand, we don't get paid to do this. For Orange County, we don't have a budget. Some other soil and water conservation districts do. We do not. So we have to find a way to also generate the money some other way, very creatively.
I'm a little confused. Maybe you don't. Maybe you know. Maybe you don't know. Why would a position that we have created, that we run for, why would it not have a budget?
I think it's a lot because of trust. Because I think in certain areas, like if the board's operating at a full function, and then if they were to ask their county commissioners, could we get a line item for something? They might do it. But if the board's not operating that well, why give them any money? Because they might waste it. You know, they got to be conscious. Like I've heard talking to someone from the Seminole County Soil and Water, they mentioned how there's some of them in other states that have like $1 million budget. And then there's Seminole County, us, has $0 budget. So, you know, and that's the thing is like build trust. Like, just look at it this way. With your kids when they were younger, do you give them an allowance or do you wait for them to prove that they deserve the allowance?
Gotcha.
So
that's an interesting relationship. So I'm curious, how does the chain of command go? Like you're running to be the district. I don't even know what the title is.
Supervisor.
Supervisor. See, guys, I don't know everything either. Believe me. You're running for that. Is there a chain of command? Does it have to then go to another board? Is that how it all works in that arena?
Believe it or not, we actually fall under the Department of Agriculture in the state. So we don't even fall under the Board of County Commissioners, but we need to work with the Board of County Commissioners and we need to work with the local municipalities. Like really, we're here to be a resource to the landowners and the community.
So what do you want to do? You come in, you've got high hopes, which I love. I think being optimistic going into any kind of political arena is a good thing. But what do you want to change? Is there something you want to implement? Is there a program that you think, or you just want to change the whole structure and try to get it to be more of an impactful organization or be an impactful supervisor?
I think that's twofold. The first thing I really want to change on it is to lay the foundation. Like right now, they have issues with quorum. They have issues having meetings. They have issues doing things like that. They don't even have bylaws. And sometimes their website's not even properly updated. So laying that foundation so the community actually knows we exist and to help hopefully elevate us up. Like, I mean, even for me running, I'm trying to push it to where this position becomes in the forefront so people know about it. That's why I'm on the show, hopefully to get people to
I think people need to be educated. And then I think people don't know why it's important to them. If for some reason I'm landlocked, I'm Orlando, even though Orange County is like this whole county of lakes, but I'm not near one. And so what is this important? Can I come talk to you about as a homeowner, as an Orange County resident, what are some of the benefits to me of this position? Not necessarily directly, but overall, how does it impact me?
Well, I mean, some of it could be just like the different grants that we can look into for you. Many people don't know what's offered through like the USDA or even EPA grants. Like, and I don't know, I know you have a little experience in real estate here. So do you know much about brownfields?
Tell us.
Brownfields are basically areas where there's some sort of contamination or something that could be repurposed. And you can get grants from the federal government through the EPA to help redevelop those lands. And then you could redevelop them for housing communities. A good example of areas that have been redeveloped that was considered brownfields in the past, Baldwin Park.
Wow. Did not know that.
So, and there's quite a few brownfields in Orange County. You know, another thing that we could even do is like, for example, if we stay in contact, we build relationships with local municipalities. Like there's a big charter amendment #2 for Split Oak. I'm sure you've heard about it.
Yes, I have.
Well, one of the big issues is back in the 90s, the commissioners said that they were not going to develop that land at all. and now they voted to develop that land. So now there's a charter amendment to prevent basically a road going through it.
Yes. You guys get involved in that?
We could, didn't, but we could have, because if we had that relationship with the county commissioners, we could have gone to those meetings, which I think happened in like February of this year, and push for them not to vote for those roadways so that there's not a charter amendment on the ballot.
So that's the whole foundation point, basically. And this is no, I'm saying this, Tim isn't. This is no cut to whoever's in charge now. But you're looking to really make an impact. You don't want it to just be something nobody knows about, nobody understands. There's no relationship with any of the other boards. You really want to come in and set the foundation to set it up so it's more of a player in the way things are done here in Orange County for soil and water.
Definitely. Like, we can advocate for the community. We can advocate for everyone. Like, we might not have the authority to tax or do laws, but we can definitely advocate and work with our local stakeholders, which would be the residents of Orange County. It would be the local businesses. It'll be the local elected officials, so that we can all work together and help each other out.
Do people, when I was on the Mayor's Academy, we went and viewed some protected conservation land, I believe. And so do you work with that? Is that another example of, if we already have a piece of land under conservation, you all work with them on that? Or do you work, like, I want people to understand that this position really does have more of an impact on you than you realize. It's not like a position where you could walk in the door and the mayors have said curfew this or curfew that, but it does have an impact and can have a bigger one if we have somebody in there who actually wants to set the foundation like you.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely work with the local governments regarding conservation. I mean, they're the ones that have the authority to set the land apart. But if we knew of something area that should be conservation, we can ask them if they would do it and basically lobby for it. But even with that, other ways that we can even do it, like one of the plans I had was to do kind of like a scavenger hunt, and you could pick like a certain area of the community and people go out and take pictures of what's there. And then when we see things happen in that area, different animals that are found, different plants, different birds, you know, everything that's going on there in the environment, we can actually then use that to leverage of, this is why this should be set aside for conservation and not developed in the future. You know,
love it.
I
think it's on everybody's mind. I think conservation is on everybody's mind, most people's minds.
Oh, it definitely is. Like, we're not making any more land.
Right. So how does your perspective, since you have a real estate background, do you think that brings a unique perspective to the position?
Oh, I definitely think it does, because, you know, some people run on the platform of being an environmentalist. Development is bad, no development. But we also have what's called an affordable housing crisis in Orange County. So you can't say no development, but you have to be more like smart growth and smart development, which is why it's more focusing on the brownfield side of it to redevelop areas. Like, for example, there's a, I don't know if the commissioners talked about it yet, but there was a landfill site off Lake Underhill, and it's been shut down since 1980. And there's a company that wants to do kind of like a mixed use property between commercial and residential there. That's something that's perfect to redevelop, because that area actually probably does have contaminated soil. It's probably considered a brownfield. You probably can get some EPA grants to help clean it up. And then you can turn it into something nice outside of just the open field that used to be a landfill. And then if we were to play part of it, maybe we can also tie in certain projects to help add green space so that we have more stuff to enjoy in the world versus skyscrapers like New York City.
Right. All right. So how do people learn more about you? I have the website scrolling across there. It's coming down to the wire. Next week is election day. How can people get involved if they want to ask you questions before they vote? What's the best way for them to reach you?
The website's down there, so definitely reach out to me on www.voteveigle.com. You can call me 407-399-0879. Believe it or not, going into this process, I didn't realize people called people that are on the ballots that they don't know. But I get calls and emails every single day.
I love it.
Including a call at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. No, didn't see that coming.
I think people are so ready for change on no matter what side you're on. People want to get involved. I think that this is definitely a time when people want to know more about when they're filling out that ballot. They want to understand a little more. And so I know it's probably not great for you, but I love the fact that people were interested enough to call/email. I think that's absolutely what we want. I wish more people would do that and educate themselves rather than just, you know, whatever, Christmas tree it on the on your vote. So, all right, man, you're great. I love it. Many blessings to you. Good luck on Tuesday. I really appreciate you being on, guys. Learn more about Tim Veigle. You guys have to vote, so you might as well know who you're voting for, and that's why we love to bring candidates on, especially old-time friends. Thanks, Tim, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we'll see you.